Hello and welcome to another City Update. I'm Deborah Cedillo-Dugan. So it's that time of year again when all those little ghosts and goblins come out to trick or treat. And with all the excitement of getting candy and visiting some of those scary haunted houses, we want to remind you of some Halloween safety tips. Joining us today is Fire's Deputy Chief Chris Ketterer. Chris, it's great seeing you.
Thanks for having me.
Well, you know, it's that time of year, as I just said, and you just kick off the holiday season, so lots of information parents and kids need to know about being safe.
Very critical, and it's the whole holiday season, like you said, starting with Halloween and then into Thanksgiving and ultimately into Christmas and New Year's. So there's a lot that we want to enjoy, but we want to do it in the most safest of ways.
Absolutely, and I see little kids from the very, babies coming and knocking at the, well, they're not knocking, but mom and dad are knocking at doors. So let's start off with costumes. What should parents be really cognizant about when they're taking their little ones out and, and the costumes, the do's and don'ts?
Well, there's a lot going on there, isn't there? If you're getting something out of a reputable store, it's important to check the tags and make sure it's fire resistant. Right. Nothing is completely fire retardant, but that it's fire resistant, and that's important. If you're selecting something, make sure it's not long and hangy because the child has the potential to step on it and fall,
sure,
right?
Because they're running. Sure. We all know they're running to go with that
And
candy.
then we all love a good superhero. But a lot of the superhero are masks that cover the face or partially cover the eyes, thereby impeding the vision laterally and low in their field of vision. So any of that, it creates a trip hazard, and then we send them out in the darkness of night, and we're going along the streets and sometimes cutting through lawns, which is not recommended. And those things come together and they suffer a fall, sometimes seriously. So it's a big concern.
It is a big concern. And, going back to the mask and covering the face, I mean, we... Just maybe use a little makeup and be creative and just, to take the mask off.
Depending on who the parents, the caregiver, the responsible adult, if you will. Right. We always recommend makeup over a mask for the reasons that we've just discussed.
But I got to tell you, every single year I see my share of ghosts with just the little holes cut out. I'm like, how do you see out of that? Just walking through the... Yeah. So let's talk about safety tips. We're going to go to a graphic right now on, making sure you have a flashlight and other things. Because let's run down the list right now.
So you said it. Having a flashlight, we know it's dark, the dark of night. A flashlight, that caring adult is going to have that out there.
Flashlight for sure.
Go to lit home. If the front porch light is on, clearly they're welcoming guests. If the light's off, stay away.
Okay.
We talk about staying on sidewalks. Earlier I mentioned cutting through lawns. There's trip hazards, cacti, whatever you can't see, limited vision. Travel in groups, certainly safety in numbers is a big deal. And then the competent adult that I keep referring to is responsible for checking and evaluating all the loot, if you will, all the candy. Sure. Before the children start imbibing and ingesting all that product. Make sure that it's safe and all the packages remain sealed.
I know, just before we were talking, because I know my husband used to do it when the kids were little. He's like, Daddy needs to check the candy, and he'd dump all the candy. Of course, he's checking the candy, but he's like, okay, this one for me, that one for you, and take all his favorite candies. Yeah. So very, very important. Take a flashlight, stay on the sidewalk. Travel in groups, and make sure you have that visibility is all very, very important.
The little people, Deborah, and you know this, the little people are distracted because
they're so excited.
They're absolutely in the moment, right? So it's really the adult, the caregiver, the guardian that's watching out for them and keeping them safe in the ways that we've just discussed.
Absolutely. Now, another big deal this year, and I think it's getting more and more popular, not for me, because I do not like being scared, just want you guys to know that, is these haunted houses. Yeah. So are we seeing more of them pop up in the area?
Statistically, we are. The challenge the fire department has is that we permit the houses, the ones that are recognized and willing to go through the permitting process. And what does that mean? Well, it's a lot of things. There's fire and life safety systems that are involved. So what we're doing is we're taking adults and children and we're putting them in an unfamiliar place. We're blacking out a lot of it so they have limited vision, and then we're saying go through the maze. Well, if everything's fine with the event, no problem. But let's say that there's an event, i.e. a fire. What do? So that's where the fire and life safety systems, the exit signs, the sprinkler systems, the fire alarm goes off, and then the permitted buildings will also have an adult with a flashlight that can guide people out if something malfunctions or if they become overwhelmed and need to get out of the space.
Okay, so we're going to go through that list again real quickly, because we're going to put this graphic out because it's very, very important, those reminders, as you just said too that the haunted house safety permits are required for the city of Phoenix.
Correct.
And you guys go out and check that. They must be fire retardant. The emergency exits, also very, very key. Adults with flashlights.
Sure.
Important. And also to pay attention to not to smoke or light any matches, because a lot of times there's haystacks or there's things that just that part of the decor
Sure.
is around there. So I can't because I don't go into haunted houses, but if something was a mess, everything's black, you're just turned around, you don't know where to go, and it just like...
It's a bad recipe, isn't
yes.
it? Again, we don't want to strike unnecessary fear. We're just saying do it wisely. And if you're going to attend one of these haunted houses, make sure it's permitted. And the ones that are permitted, proudly display those, because they want you to know they've gone through the cost and extra expense of obtaining the permit and readying their facility for safe passage for all their guests. They want you to come back year after year. So it really is important. It's also important to mention that there are other haunted houses out there that are non-permitted.
Right.
And I'm not implying that they are inherently unsafe in and of themselves, but they haven't gone through this permitting process. So we strongly recommend that you go to the known safe facilities first and leave the others.
And is there a certificate or something on the door that's shown, whatever?
Right, there absolutely is.
Okay.
So generally near the entrance, you could ask the proprietor of any of the facilities if they're permitted, and they're happy to show it. Again, it's something that they're proud of. Think of passing the home health department's permitting process that a restaurant would go through. They want you to know that their restaurant is safe for the consumption of their food. Good
information. In fact, I'm going to go over through a couple of, I think that we have 3 locations that Phoenix Fire has in fact inspected and approved these following haunted houses right here in Phoenix. First off, it's called the 13th Floor Haunted House, located at 814 West Bell Road. There's also the Fear Farm Haunted House and Corn Maze at 209 North 99th Avenue. And finally, the Jack and Jill's Haunted Hill, located at 4907 West Bell Road. Those are 3 certified and approved by Phoenix Fire. Chris, thank you so much for spending a few minutes with us today about this very important topic, because we want to keep our families and our little ones especially very safe during this Halloween and upcoming holiday season.
Thanks so much.
Thank you. And that's all we have for City Update. And if you'd like to have more information on fire safety, you can go to their website at phoenix.gov/fire/prevention, or you can always call 602-262-6771. For City Update, I'm Deborah Cedillo Dugan.